Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something really cool, how to create a dynamic blood screen effect and a health indicator system in Unreal Engine. Whether you're designing an instance horror game or just want to add some dramatic flares to your project, this tutorial has got you covered. We'll be working with three key components: a user widget to display the effect, a custom material to give that authentic look, and of course the character blueprint to tie it all together. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional blood screen that reacts to in-game events. So grab your coffee and let's get started on this bloody journey together. Alright, so first I'm gonna create a new folder called blood screen. In here I'm gonna create a new folder again called materials and a new one called textures. For the texture, I'm gonna use one that I have previously sourced from the internet, and you can get any of this material or textures as long as they have a valid alpha channel. So from here I'm gonna go ahead and make another folder called UI. Now let's get started with creating the actual materials. Now in the materials panel, I'm gonna create a new material and name it m underscore health indicator. And off of here, I'm gonna create a new material instance and name it mi underscore the name it already has. Alright, in the material, I'm gonna go ahead and change two things. One is material domain, I'm gonna change it to user interface, and the blend mode to translucent. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my texture. I'm gonna go ahead and plug the base color to the final color, or the RGB to the final color. Bring to multiply nodes. I'm gonna multiply my alpha with the RGB and use the return node to the other multiply and use a scalar parameter. By the way, you can create a scalar parameter by holding S and left clicking on the graph. I'm gonna name it opacity. Also have a default value of 1. Now use it on the B of the multiply node and hook up with the opacity. Now for this material, we're already done with this. You can close off, and on the material instance that you've created, just turn on the opacity from the instance. Now over to the widget, I'm gonna go ahead and create a widget. From here on the UI folder, I'm gonna go ahead and create a widget blueprint of user widget. Name this WB for widget blueprint and just name this blood. Alright, let's open up our widget blueprint, and here I'm gonna create a canvas panel. Drag and drop, that's it. Resize it to 1080p. You can do this or do it later on. Next, I'm gonna get an image, drag and drop, use the anchor as the whole panel, and also reset all the values to 0 so that it fits all of my screen. Now from here, I'm gonna go ahead into my content browser and search for that material instance that I just created and use it as the brush image of this image. Over in the animation, I'm gonna click. If you don't see this animation window, you can go ahead and on the Windows tab and click on the animations and it'll pop just right up. Now I'm gonna create a new animation called blood blink, Selecting this animation, I'm gonna go ahead and add a track. Let's name our image to blood image. Add this to our track. From here, I'm gonna go and set my color and opacity. No, not color and opacity. I'm gonna get my render opacity. From here, I'm gonna add a keyframe of 1. On the 0.5, I'm gonna add a keyframe of 0. And on the 0.75, I'm gonna create a new keyframe of 1 again, so that it adds a bit blinking animation. This might be a bit too much, so I'm gonna shrink it to 0.5. Alright, this seems a bit better. And in the graph, I'm gonna go ahead and work with the event construct first. Now let's get our blood image. From here, I'm gonna get dynamic material and promote this to a variable. Promote the return value to a variable and call this blood material. From here, I'm gonna cast to my first person character here, and get on the object, I'm gonna get my player pawn. Once this is done, I'm gonna promote the return value to a variable as well and call this first person ref for reference. Now that that's created, we can go ahead and actually we need event construct, not pre-construct. We can delete the other one. After this, we're gonna create a new custom event. Name this took damage. So when we actually take damage, it's gonna call off or fire off. We're gonna add new input over here and call this player current health, and this is gonna be a type of float. Alright, from here I'm gonna divide my value with the actual player health value or the max health value. But before that, alright, once this is done, we can go ahead and open our first person game mode or the first person character. Over here, we're gonna set a few valuable keys first. In here, we're gonna create a function or a key that actually takes away our health and another function that adds to our health or heals us. Now, on the variable, I'm gonna create two variables. One is current health and another one is gonna be max health. Both are gonna be type of float, and I'm gonna add my max health value, which is gonna be 300 for now. Now on the event graph, now I'm gonna add two keyboard events and add a shortcut of F and another one of E. From here, let's do our damage or heal and damage functions. From here, for F, I'm gonna do apply damage. The damaged actor will be self because we're the only one who's dealing damage, and also the damage causer will also be self because we're the damage causer itself. This is gonna be the same for the other one. Now For F, I'm gonna do damage of 15 in an instance, and this is gonna be our healing with E, so I'm gonna heal with an amount of 7.5. Alright, and comment on this and say heal and damage. Now once that's done, we can go ahead and search for our event begin play. In the event begin play, we're gonna set our current health to our max health, so that we start off with the current health being at its full value. Alright, from here we're gonna go and create our widget. We're gonna create our widget and select the class of WB Blood, which we just created. The owning player should be get player controller. You can also just forget about this, but it's always safer to have a target. Now I'm gonna promote the return value to blood ref for the widget reference. Alright, this is gonna be it. And alright, this is for the begin play function. Now we're gonna create the actual damaging events. I'm gonna bring in my event any damage. From here I'm gonna go ahead and set my current health to the number that is get my current health, subtract the value of my damage number, and run it through a clamp of float, so that my healing or damage doesn't actually exceeds above my actual values. I'm gonna get my max health and set the max value of the float or the clamp, and set the current return value to the current health. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add a branch, because so that we can have a few conditions. I'm gonna check my current health. If this current health is equal or less than 0. If my current health is equal or less than 0, then we can go ahead and do some functions based on that condition. Now for this one, I'm gonna on the true, when my health or the character's health reaches a certain number or reaches 0 or below 0, we're gonna quit game. Alright, and on the false, I'm gonna add a print string so that I can monitor my values or health values. Alright, this is it for the damaging event. On the WB Blood again, we're gonna go ahead and create our custom event. I'm gonna go ahead and add a custom event, name it took damage. From here we're gonna go ahead and bring in our blood material that we just set and get it. Right click on it and convert it to a validated get. From here we're gonna on the valid, we're gonna set search for set scalar parameter value. Now from here we're gonna set the parameter value. Also, one thing to note, that in the custom event we're gonna go ahead and add an input of player and name it player current health, which should be a type of float. And also from the reference on the event construct, we're gonna go ahead and get max health and set it to a variable as well and call it player max health and hook up the execution pins. Okay, now that's done. We're gonna go ahead and from the player health, we're gonna divide our value with our max health or player's max health so that we can get the value from 0 to 1. Now we're gonna go ahead and subtract 1 from the value because we need to inverse the value so that when the blood screen when your health is let's say let's say when I have my health value at 300, when your health value is at 250, the blood screen effect will be a bit less than when your health was at 50. When it decreases, the effect will become stronger and the animation will also play a bit fast to, you know, dynamically change the material or the visual effect. Now from this, I'm gonna go ahead and multiply the value with 2 to actually bring out the animation. Also, we need the parameter name. This should be the parameter name of the material parameter that you've set, and to avoid any mistake or any error, I'm gonna go ahead and Control C, Control V the value. There we go. Now this is almost done for here. As for the animation, we're gonna go and create another custom event and call this play hit animation. On this, I'm gonna go and under the animations bring in the blood blink, that the little animation that we just created, and from here I'm gonna get my play animation. Always set your loop to 0 so that it loops indefinitely, and get your value of the playback speed from this value and multiply it so that we can have our custom playback speed. When the health is actually at max, it's gonna play slower, very slow, and when it's you know, the health is really low, it's gonna play a bit faster to really visualize the, or to give the intense visual effect. Now I'm gonna add comments on this. Alright, after our rearrange, we're gonna go ahead in our first person character again and do a few calculations over here. In here, I'm gonna go and create a custom event again and call this update blood screen. Oh, there's a mistake. Alright. In here, I'm gonna go and get my blood ref for the widget and search for is valid node. No, not this one, actually. With the question mark one. Yes. So that we don't face any errors. From here, I'm gonna go and also from this reference call the took damage function and hook it up in the is valid. Alright, and we're gonna add our current health variable in here as well. Next, we're gonna bring in our event tick and call this update blood screen. And on the event damage, we're gonna go again, take our blood reference, widget reference, and call for play hit animation, so that whenever we take damage, the animation is gonna play. Now I believe everything is ready to go. Let's give it a check. Alright, we're alive. Once I press F, I'm gonna take a damage of 15. That's gonna get subtracted from 300. Go ahead and do some more damage. Okay, the blood screen is not showing up. Alright, there's a mistake. I need to add this to my viewport. So I'm gonna search for add to viewport, and this is gonna fix everything. Let's see. Let's do our damage. Now you can see we have our blood screen, but there's no animation. Let's fix that. Oh, the issue was that we had to multiply a number rather than 0, because if you multiply 0 with any number, it's gonna be 0, so the playback speed will be 0, and it's gonna give us some error. Now, once we have added a number, so let's test our blood screen effect. Now, once we take damage, you can see that the effect or the visuals are really dim or nearly invisible. The animation that it's playing is really slow, and the visuals are really nearly invisible because our health is about a bit high. Now, once we take more damage, it's gonna get more intense and speed up the animation. Once we get to our critical health, it's gonna get even worse and give us the indication that we need to heal. Now, once we start healing, I believe I have a bit error over here. Yes, on the E, we're gonna set the value to -7.5 so that it adds to our healing. So we got damaged a lot, and then we start healing. And as soon as we get healed, the animation speed is gonna get less, and also the visuals are also gonna disappear with the increment of our health. So this is it. Feel free to hit the like or dislike, and hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.